Did you know you can ski from Zermatt, Switzerland to Italy and back again in a single day?
Let's go!
This bucket list adventure includes skiing some of the longest runs in the world, seeing incredible views of the iconic Matterhorn, and refueling with delicious Italian pasta. But here's the catch. If you miss the last ski lift back to Switzerland, you'll be stranded in Italy and face a hefty $500 cab ride back to Zermatt. But that's a risk we're willing to take to see for ourselves if the international lift ticket is worth the price and if this trip is doable for the casual skier. So come along for the ride. Zermatt is one of the most iconic ski destinations in the world, but it's also unpredictable. 2 years ago, we came here with a plan: ski to Italy, eat pasta, and ski back. Except a massive storm rolled in and shut down the mountain on both sides. We barely got to ski, and we never saw the Matterhorn. And while those are certainly champagne problems, this trip felt like redemption. We came in hopeful and much more prepared. One thing we learned the hard way is that visibility matters here, a lot. So this time we bought a Flex Lift Pass. It lets you choose how many days you want to ski within a set window, which is exactly what we'd recommend doing in Zermatt. The weather can change so quickly, and you don't want to be locked into the wrong day. But thankfully, with clear skies in the forecast, it was finally time to attempt the plan: ski from Switzerland to Italy and back again in a single day. To do that, you also need to purchase the international lift ticket, which costs about 15 Swiss francs more, or roughly $19 US. For us, that felt like a small price to pay to ski between two countries. So the morning began how every great international ski mission starts, awkwardly walking in ski boots. And while Zermatt mornings are quiet and peaceful, rumors are that you may still be able to hear me humbly clacking my way down the streets. I feel it's important to note that there are shuttles that run through town, but for some reason, this felt like the right call. The lifts open at 8:30 a.m., and since we were very aware of the time element for today's adventure, we made sure to arrive at the first gondola just before it opened, and then began the 45-minute journey to the top on the Glacier Matterhorn Express. The views were amazing, and after one transfer in between gondolas and a serious elevation gain, we arrived at the summit, the Glacier Matterhorn Paradise. This is actually the highest cable car station in Europe, sitting at over 3,800 meters, or over 12,700 feet. I'm still not sure if it was nerves or altitude, but our hearts were beating fast. It was equal parts exhilarating and intimidating. And from up here, you're not just skiing a mountain, you're skiing in between countries. The first descent from Glacier Matterhorn Paradise is more of a long, scenic traverse across the mountain. And this is where I felt really good about my gear decision while in the Alps. I typically snowboard, but I opted for skis today, knowing there would be a lot of traversing and no snowboarder wants to get stuck in the flats. Which, even on skis, I'd recommend you keep your speed up out here. And about 20 minutes later, we reached the border crossing where the mountain splits in two.
So we're currently standing on the border. You go that way to go to Switzerland. And this way to go to Italy.
And just like that, we skied across an invisible line on the mountain and into Italy. From here, the real descent begins. Over the next hour, we'd descend roughly 2,100 meters, about 7,000 feet, from high alpine glacier terrain down towards the town of Cervinia. But first, coffee. We stopped for a quick cappuccino and hot chocolate, remembering to switch languages now that we're officially in Italy. We also immediately noticed something else. Prices were definitely a bit more relaxed on this side of the border. After the brief bite, we got back on the slopes.
What a wild experience this has been so far, from the moment we got off the lift and being treated to this view with a totally bluebird day. Visibility is clear. We've had a view of the Matterhorn the entire time that we've been skiing down. The run itself, I would consider myself a casual intermediate skier, and I think that's appropriate for what the runs are. There are several steep sections, but there's also several flats. But we're really excited to go down, explore the town, and probably stop for lunch, hoping to get some really good pasta.
With Cervinia now in our sights, we enthusiastically made our way down the mountain and navigated toward our next lift. While there are plenty of places to eat right in town, we decided to take the first lift about halfway back up the mountain. It gave us a chance to soak in even more views of the Matterhorn, this time from the Italian side, while enjoying lunch. We stopped at Rocinere, a slopeside mountain restaurant with incredible views and exactly the kind of food we wanted after a long descent. I ordered the purple potato gnocchi in a pumpkin puree, which admittedly looked a little wild on the plate, day, but I promise you it tasted absolutely amazing. And by the time we finished lunch, it was time to start thinking about the return journey. At this point, we were actually feeling pretty good on time. There's a recommended return lift time of around 2:30 p.m., and we were comfortably ahead of that, so it was just a matter of catching a couple of lifts to make our way back toward the summit border. We thought we had chosen the most efficient path, the one that would set us up for success. Instead, we hit the low point of the day. It was a giant standing cable car, similar to the ones we had taken earlier, but this time we were joined by what felt like 100 of our closest friends. Everyone pushing to get on, no real room to move or breathe. Enter claustrophobia and a brief panic attack.
You doing okay? Das ist so eine kleine schöne Holzhütte. Da kennt man noch was im Raum essen. Kleinigkeit, es gibt so Sandwiches, die wollen ja neuen Lüften.
This is fine, just if you're claustrophobic. It's a bit of a nightmare.
Danny talked me through it, and as soon as those doors opened, I hurried out to regain my composure. Not exactly the most glamorous part of skiing in the Alps, but it's real.
All right, sorry about that. I have a bit of claustrophobia, and being packed like that, and I think especially just my size, if I feel like I can't move, I tend to panic. So Danny kind of talked me through that one, and we made it. We're back up to the top. Everything's fine. Sorry about that.
Put your neck gaiter back on. Put your clothes back on.
I started stripping. Sorry about that. I feel like I always try and keep it positive on our channel. I was in fight or flight mode there for a moment, but definitely coming back down from it. The views are beautiful. We're happy to be back up to the top, and now we're gonna ski back over to Switzerland.
And just like that, we pointed our skis back towards Zermatt and enjoyed the long run back down the mountain. The trails are not super technical the entire way, but they are sustained enough that your legs definitely know you've been skiing all day. And admittedly, we were not in peak ski shape, so by this point we were feeling it. But we could not stop smiling because we had some of the most iconic views in the Alps, and then gliding past mountain restaurants and wooden chalets, and eventually the run winds its way down past the last slopes, crossing over the river that runs through Zermatt. Just after 4 in the afternoon, we reached the bottom. Tired, happy, proud, and having the answer to a very important question.
We did it! The mission was a success. We are back in Zermatt, and it is around 4:20, I think, just in time for après-ski, which for us means getting a pretzel from our favorite bakery. What an awesome day. So is the international lift ticket worth it? I'd say absolutely. If you're spending a few days here in Zermatt, take the trip over to Italy. We found that there was plenty of time. We stopped for breakfast and lunch, and we were sightseeing and filming. So I feel like there is plenty of time for casual skiers like us. It makes for a really fun adventure. And speaking of adventures, we still have another really fun one coming up here in Zermatt, one of the most unique hotel stays we've ever done. So be sure to like and subscribe to stay tuned for that one.